Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Giant Frogman here. Today we got ourselves some Pokemon news I thought we'd take a look at. So sit back, relax, and let's get started right away. First thing we're going to take a look at, guys, is going to be this post right here, coming to us from Central Leaks. Hopefully you guys can hear me through the crab suit. Basically, this is a post where he's just going through, well, specifically Project Synapse. Now, I've talked about this in the last video or so. I think you guys saw my hand there. I'm actually supposed to have a claw. But either way, basically, thanks to some leaks, we now know that Project Synapse, which if you guys do not know, is supposed to be a multiplayer Pokemon game, might be being revealed this week. We only know this because of course, like yesterday or the day before yesterday, we had none else than Pioro. That's not what I'm trying to click. But basically, we had somebody by the name of Pioro. If you guys do not know Pioro, he's a genuine leaker, like an actual guy who does leaks. He does, you know, Pokemon, Nintendo, stuff like that. But Pioro is a leaker that has come out with a lot of correct information in the past, and he tweeted recently a picture of a Synapse. Now, if you do not know what a Synapse is, I already explained this in several videos before. Just gonna give you a quick rundown. It's in the nervous system. Synapses are the things that connect and basically send electrical signals through your brain. It's the way it's kind of like the high speed, you know, like freaking highway of your brain. It's how signals and stuff are sent through your brain. Basically, that is the code name, which, yes, there are code names for Pokemon games when they're in development. These are names used so the official names don't leak by accident, so at least they can call them something else. And also, because they're projects that are secretly done, it's just one of those things that companies do. It's weird. But either way, basically, Project Synapse is a game that's meant to be a sort of Splatoon-like game, right? I'm trying to do quotation marks with my crab hands. But basically, it's supposed to be a Splatoon-similar type game, like something like Splatoon, where basically it's a team-based multiplayer game, and it might be using the remnants, like the remaining assets, and when I say assets, I'm talking about 3D models, game art, code, stuff like that, from a canceled project that we already know about, which is what you're seeing down here in this little screenshot. It's basically a project that was known as Project Rodeo. Rodeos, of course, are something you only really see in, like, what, North and South America? People just riding, like, animals, right? And just trying not to get shoved off of them. More or less, that was what this game was meant to be. Project Rodeo was meant to be a game where you ride on top of a Pokemon, try to calm it down, and then that becomes your Pokemon. Then you use it to go around capturing other Pokemon in like a multiplayer world. It was not supposed to be open world, by the way. It was supposed to be just kind of a semi-open world or kind of a instance-based. It was supposed to be multiplayer, at least based on what we know, but that project got canceled. So yes, Project Rodeo got canceled. This crab can confirm that based on the leaks we've seen, right? So the project got canceled, but what does that really mean? Okay, like what does that really mean for us? Well, basically, they seem to have been taking that project and sort of revamped it into something else, which is Project Synapse. So the short answer then is, you know, what is Project Synapse? Well, the short answer is that we don't know yet. We know it's a multiplayer game and likely is being developed by Pokemon Works. Of course, Pokemon Works, as I've said several times in previous videos, for those of you who are not aware, Pokemon Works is a brand new company that was made like last year, the year before last year. Like I think it was 2023. I could be wrong. But Pokemon Works is a brand new company that was created by the Pokemon Company and Ilka. Ilka is the company that developed Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the remakes of Diamond and Pearl, and the Pokemon Company is the official company that's owned and operated by Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures Inc., which are the three companies that own 33.333% equity in the Pokemon brand. And the Pokemon Company is kind of like their umbrella company that handles everything. So together with Ilka, which is a separate company, not owned by Game Freak, Nintendo, or any of these companies, they're an individual company, but together with Pokemon, they have created a brand new, subsidiary, which is Pokemon Works. Pokemon Works has so far only worked on two things. It's worked and helped with Pokemon Sleep, and it's also worked and helped with Pokemon Home. So that's what Ilka has been working on together with the Pokemon Company within the scope of the new Pokemon Works company. That's what they've done. But there has been long-time rumors, and they specifically have said themselves that they are seemingly working on, assisting with game development, also making games. And that's probably the game that they are working on, could be Pokemon Synapse. Now, let's get into some of the other stuff here. Well, the new company set by Ilka and the Pokemon Company, but we have some hints about it from last year's Terra Leak. In the Terra Leak, there was another game that fit this description, the canceled Project Rodeo. The game is also an online multiplayer game for both Switch and smartphones and revolves around using ride Pokemon to defeat rampaging Pokemon. In the pitch document for it, it mentions some Splatoon references for the fact that you can customize your characters and your gun, it has some kind of gun, and the fact that it's a team-based online game. While Rodeo was canceled, we think that parts of it have been reincorporated into Synapse. What we don't know yet is how different it is now. Now, I will say this, okay? First of all, I will literally instantly say this about this entire thing. I think they're incorrect about the Splatoon stuff, because we did see actual, like, if what we saw was related to Synapse, we did see an image of a character with a Smurgle, I think, with some paint on them and like a paint gun, which was actually already for Synapse, as far as I'm aware. That was already something for Synapse, but it was like a concept art of sorts by Game Freak or somebody at Game Freak or Ilka, whatever. A concept art of a character with like a you know, a freaking gun that just shoots paint, a paint gun, I guess, right? Paintball gun, paint gun, whatever you want to call it. That's what we saw, you know, already in one of these like images. Now you guys can look it up. Just look up Pokemon Project Synapse, you know, like gameplay or concept art. You should be able to find it on the internet really quickly. My crab hands make it very hard to type right now. You can't really do it, but you get the point. So you guys can look that up and see what I'm talking about. But why does this matter? Because we only know one thing is guaranteed to be shown on Thursday, which, by the way, it's Tuesday today. We only have like today, tomorrow, and then it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2 more days, and then it's time for Pokemon Day. It's crazy to think. As you can tell, I'm kind of excited. But yeah, so again, this project could be huge, and it could be revealed already on this Thursday. We could already see it, which would make sense because there is one big element that people keep missing, right? If we only get Legends ZA this year, that's fine, but it's gonna be a long time until the next game after ZA comes out, aka probably Generation 10, which we're not gonna see on Thursday, most likely not, but what we will see, like more or less guaranteed, is Legends ZA. And we will probably hear mentions of maybe, like, when I say mentions, I don't mean like they're going to say, like, here's Gen 10 and here's what it's going to be called and it's coming out next year. No, what I think is they might just confirm that they're working on more projects. Like, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are working on a Pokemon title for the upcoming Switch 2 console. Like, literally, that might be the only words they say. Like, that literally may be it. But we know for a fact next year is going to be Generation 10. How do we know it's going to be next year? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've got something to tell you, which is the fact that next year is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. Now, I have for the longest time thought that this year, 2025, was going to be Generation 10, that was going to come out this year. Like, I thought that for the longest time, and I still have, like, some weird bias, and the biggest reason I have a bias for why I think it's going to happen this year still, and it's only one reason, only one thing that makes me think that, which is that they have always released every 3 years, and Legends ZA, I don't think is a large enough game, unless it is. It could be a massive game. It could be, like, bigger in size than Scarlet and Violet, for all I know, right? It could be massive, a game that can last us 2-3 years in time. That is highly possible. But since it's a Legends game and we can compare it to the existing Legends game, which is Arceus, right? If we compare it to that game, Arceus, like, was an amazing game. Probably one of the best Pokemon games we had since, like, Heart Gold and Soul Silver and, like, Black and White era. Like, it was one of the best games ever, but it didn't last long in the sort of, like, Pokemon zeitgeist, right? Like, people didn't really, you know, pay attention to it for that long. Why? Because it didn't really have multiplayer play. You didn't really have, like, a lot of options for, like, you know, like, a lot of replayability, right? Like, shiny hunting is something you do in every Pokemon game practically, so that is not really enough to justify, like, spending more than a certain amount of hours. And, like, once you beat the story and done, like, catch all the Pokemon, all that kind of stuff, the basic stuff, that's about it. There wasn't really much else to do besides shiny hunting was, like, the only other thing you could do. Which then makes people question, yeah, how do you keep this game alive? Well, multiplayer is one reason. Multiplayer is one way to keep people playing the game for a long time. But that's the thing. I don't think Legends ZA is going to have a shelf life that's going to be that long. And if it's going to have a short shelf life, what is going to keep people busy and what's going to help the other aspects of Pokemon move forward? Now, I talk about, when I say multiple other aspects of Pokemon, I'm talking about the Pokemon TCG, the Pokemon anime, the Pokemon movies. All those things are related specifically, okay? They're directly related to the video games. The video games kind of dictate what new stuff comes out. Like, we're never going to see Pokemon Go coming out and making like 15 brand new Pokemon from scratch on their own, because they will never be allowed to do that, because Game Freak retains all control, all creative control on brand new Pokemon. Like, that's something that no other company is basically allowed to do. Even Meltan, which was first introduced in Pokemon Go as a way to connect Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee with Pokemon Go and kind of do a cross collaboration, even that was a singular Pokemon and under very stringent lines of, like, what can and can't be done. It was still made by Game Freak. It wasn't made by Niantic. So what I'm trying to say is, we need more, they need more content. We don't maybe necessarily need it, but they need it internally as a company for all the other products to work. Like, you cannot run the trading card game as well as the other stuff at the same time if you don't provide people with, like, you know, what they need, right? Like, they need, like, you know, the developers, they need those other things to be included, which is brand new Pokemon, brand new regions, brand new characters. All this shit needs to be added through games to then be seen inside of other products. That's basically what I'm trying to say. But that's the thing. The shelf life of Legends EA is not long enough, which is why I still think there's always a chance for Gen 10 to be announced. Highly doubt it. And the biggest reason I doubt it, and the biggest reason everybody doubts it, is that dreaded 30th anniversary of next year. Because next year is going to be 30 years, the 30-year anniversary of Pokemon. The last time we had a big anniversary was the 25th and the 20th. On the 20th anniversary, we got Sun and Moon announced. So that was a big one. On the 20th anniversary, celebrating 20 years of Pokemon, we got Sun and Moon. Now it's a decade later. Holy shit, it's a decade later. It's a decade later now. And guess what? Now we should be getting, you know, a new gen, as people assume, on the 30th anniversary. So nothing's going to happen this year, but what is something they can do to keep people entertained, to give the cards as well as all this other stuff a little bit more to work with? Well, that would be a spin-off game to maybe keep people a little bit more invested. Then again, it would be still a spin-off game of sorts, so it wouldn't have the same, you know, like the same power as a brand new generation, or even like a remake or something like a Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee or something like that. But again, there's a possibility for all these things. Now, Synapse is the biggest, most likelihood based on just what we've seen right now. But let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be in regards to, well, to do with Nintendo and Switch 2. So, Nintendo president is from Stealth40k. Shout out to him. Great video game like analyst and that kind of stuff. Saying, Nintendo president Furukawa says that Switch 2 exclusive games are important to success. We announced Pokemon Legends EA and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond as titles for the Nintendo Switch in 2025. Since many people play the Nintendo Switch, we would like to see the we would like to release software for it. On the other hand, dedicated software is very important when launching new hardware. With that in mind, we'd like to consider various ways to enable many customers to play our games through the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. So if you look over here at the actual posting, this is like the actual, you know, I think, is this from like an investors meeting? I guess it's got to be like something like that, right? I would assume. So it's like, okay, it was like an interview he did, but it's a PDF directly from the Nintendo company where they answered this. So basically, you know, Nintendo president Furukawa says the Switch 2 exclusive games are important to success, which yes, they are, okay? If they want the Switch 2 to succeed, because let's be real here, why would you buy a Switch 2 to play, like, let's say Legends EA or whatever else, if you're practically getting the same experience? Like, the game itself is not going to really shift much if you play it on one console or the other console. Example of this is, if you have an original Nintendo DS and you have a Game Boy Advanced, you can technically play your Game Boy Advance games on it, on the Nintendo's DS, but you don't really have to. Like, there's no inherent advantage. The graphics don't necessarily change much. I mean, maybe the screen is a little bit larger, but like, generally speaking, there is not like a massive upgrade where it's like, do I spend the money to get a new console, which at the moment doesn't have any games anyways? Or do I just keep the current one and I play the games that are coming out right now? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they do need exclusives to justify people buying a Switch. So that makes total sense. So we'll see how that turns out. Next thing, though, is actually a rumor from Switch 2 stock, which says a new Switch 2 rumor. Switch 2 release in June. They want to release the console before the end of the summer. And this is coming from it's literally video game, by the way. It's French for play video or play. Like, I think I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know. Either way, point is, it basically means video games or play video or something like that. At least I think so. I could be totally wrong here, but because it reminds me a little bit about the Spanish word like juego. I think, to play. I don't know. Either way. Here's what the post, though, says from this account, which is Nintendo Switch 2, a release in June. Former Nintendo America employee predicts that's June release date for Nintendo Switch's next console. They want to release the console before the end of the summer, which would make sense. I have speculated that it would be somewhere in May, which maybe is a little too early because that's like right after the reveal in April. So maybe they need a little bit more time, but June makes the most sense, to be honest. June just makes sense for everything. June makes sense for Legends EA. June makes sense for Switch 2. June just makes sense for everything. I mean, it just makes sense, right? But we'll see if anything does come from that, if this actual developer, like this former employee, is right. The next thing, though, is from Nintendo Prime, who just shared a tweet from Matt Piscatella, who said, heck, a lot of folks inside Nintendo don't know either. This one's been a locked box for so far, and good on them, I guess. I'm still thinking the first half, but no idea on the US price given looks at everything. Won't really matter though, as I expect year one inventory constraints. So this is about like the supply chain for this console, right? Analysts are predicting that the supply issues the entirety of the year one or the Switch 2. I think it's going to be because demand will be through the roof, which we'll see if the demand is going to be through the roof for Switch 2. I'm going to need one because I do work which requires a Switch 2, like aka recording Pokemon games, stuff like that. But I don't know about this with other people and, like the necessities of it. But yeah, next up, we're going to talk about this right here. Now, this is a picture of I think Professor Cookie. I don't know if it's like the original image of him or if it's a different one. I don't really know. But basically, this guy just says, brief ZA leaks. And then he goes on and says the following list of Pokemon, which is starter Pokemon are Grookey, Torchic, Squirtle. Then apparently he says new items called Camouflage Paint raises evasiveness, grass type holding. If Nuzleaf holds it and it levels up, evolves into a military themed Shiftry called Shift Drops. Grass Dark to Grass Ghost. Main way to get old Megastones is through special guests and in Lumio's tunnels. Okay, that's actually kind of interesting. You play as Sycamore's nephew and niece working as an intern for the Quasar division of Rotom Phone Inc. Rotom Phone Inc., really? I don't know about that one. This division led by Clement. And also, by the way, can I just say something? Everybody and their mother-in-law just keeps using these rumors, keeps going for Quasar, right? Like, I get it. Okay, I get it. Quasar's possibly going to be involved here because they have the Quasar logo. Quasar seems to be the name on the logo, but like I feel like everybody's just taken this for granted and just ran with it. I haven't seen a lot of like other names or suggestions for names. Like, why is it just Quasar? Can we like have some creativity? Come on. I mean, to be fair, it's like the most likely name. Like, I'm just over exaggerating here. Genuinely, it's most likely the name of the actual villain team or the organization we're going to be dealing with. This division, though, led by Clement, is responsible for redevelopment, transportation, and energy. You must report to Nemona's parents, the Onaires. The characters from the DLC of what was it? The Kitakami DLC, yeah. Teal Mask DLC. If you guys do not know this, in the DLC, you actually get to meet Nemona's parents, the Onaires, which their name is Billionaires. Onaires, get it? But yeah, or Millionaires, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, either way, they have been redesigned to be dark skin and task you with start the power to the plants to generate enough electricity for Rotom production. They claim there is a Rotom shortage. Fewer Rotoms in the wild means fewer Rotom phones can be manufactured. That seems a little bit weird. The entire thing just seems a little bit odd. Company's HQ located in Lumio City. Following the Lumio City redevelopment plan, 3 out of 5 power plants become operational. The first power plant is powered by Zeraora. The second is powered by Regieleki. This just sounds super fanfiction-y and just like weird. The third one is dedicated to Zygarde cells and is run by Sina and Dexio. Professor Sycamore, who now has gray hairs, but otherwise looks the same as an X and Y, serves as your mentor. He gives you a Zeraorite he found in the Lumio's tunnels and gives a small monologue referencing the events of X and Y. The first power plant contains multiple electric-type Pokemon, including a new electric-type Pumpkaboo. That would actually be really cool. Professor Cookie, who's not only a longtime friend, linked early art my friend was able to take a pic of. I don't know how. Also, he's supposed to be Masked Royale emblem in his hat in the final game of Sycamore, but also visiting Kalos with his family. Teaches you how to Mega Evolve Zeraora at a power plant 1. You must use its Mega Evolution to generate enough electricity for the plant to function independently, allowing you to catch Zeraora. Can't say more due to character limit, by the way. Yes, you are the one. Stay tuned for February 27th. So yeah, I'm gonna be real. No, I ain't buying none of this. This just sounds like really far-fetched. But who knows, man? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. Next thing, though, is going to be this post right here from Soul Silver Art, who said that, hey, we only have, he posted this like yesterday, so technically it's 2 days left, but we only have 2 days left for Pokemon Day, so it's time for your final predictions. I want to know what you guys think about Legends EA, when it will take place. And this is what I want to talk about. So I'm really curious about what you guys think about this as well, because there's been a large discussion about, will the game be set in the past, the present, or the future? Now, I personally think it's going to be the future. The main reason is because I feel like Legends Arceus took place in the past. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet took place in the present, and I feel like we haven't had a game yet that's kind of had a futuristic setting, and it's so weird that, like, you know, when we see that teaser trailer of Legends EA, one of the things we see is, of course, an old-timey sketch, but then it's like becomes futuristic. So it's weird to me that we kind of progress through that. We see the past, and then we see where it's like in the future is supposed to be, which either like is meant to imply that like the game is set in the past, and the plot is all about like building a future that's supposed to be this futuristic future that we expect. And based on like the fact that they say there's a redevelopment, right, taking place, it seems to imply with that whole like redevelopment plan that happened within the city of Paris in real life, which they do oftentimes correlate like real life history with Pokemon games. So it's really hard to say, but it's interesting nonetheless, okay? It's interesting nonetheless, and I'd love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on it. So, yeah, I'd love to know you guys' thoughts, and that's going to be that. Moving on to the next thing, which is this post right here, again from Soul Silver. Looks like the Pokemon Masters. So, Pokemon Masters EX is, of course, a spin-off game, but it does have a lot of stuff that happens in it that connects to the stuff we talk about today, which is, looks like Pokemon Masters will be the first of many to start promoting the Megas, and it's interesting that they're using the Primals and Rayquaza, which are exactly the ones I was unsure of being in ZA. Also, just when I thought Black and White Dream was over, look who else they're featuring. And yes, they are featuring N, which is interesting. So they're doing, of course, the Megas and the Hoenn thingy, but N is in here too, which is a little bit out of place, but okay. I mean, it's fine. Usually this doesn't necessarily confirm anything. It doesn't really, confirm much of anything, but it is sometimes a little bit of an indicator, because if this is already leaking out about Masters EX, and remember, Masters EX and all these other games are going to be mentioned on Pokemon Day. But I will say this, though, just because N is here does not confirm Black and White, because we had this exact same thing happen last year. We thought we were going to get Johto Remix. I thought that for the longest time. We're going to get Johto Remix, which we didn't, by the way. We didn't get them, but I thought we were going to get it. Why? Because, the TCG was featuring a bunch of Johto trainers and stuff. And not just that. Oh, what else? What else happened? Oh, dear me. They had like a Johto anniversary last year and all this other shit. And they even had like characters from Johto showing up in like other spin-off games. Then we actually get the trailers, and nothing happened. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't confirm anything, but it is interesting, because sometimes it could be an indicator, so it's best to remember. But ladies and gentlemen, I've been speaking like a speed demon here, which means it's about time for me to shut the fuck up and end the video. So thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. I might be live streaming right after this goes up. I might be live on YouTube. We'll see. I'll see what I do. But I'll be seeing you guys very soon. I'm going to be live streaming on Pokemon Day, and also tomorrow I'm going to 100% be live streaming before the giant event, like the day before, just getting hyped up and all that kind of shit. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll be seeing you all later, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day, and bye-bye.